Hey, what's good, people? What is good? Saturday here. This is my break day, but I'm just gonna kind of tell you guys about some things that I've just been watching various things on the internet and like reading articles on the internet about the 50th anniversary of the fiat currency standard. We moved from the gold standard to a fiat currency floating currency system based on the US dollar in 1971, and then a lot of things happened after that that kind of leads us to where we are today. And you can argue the system is like collapsing on itself at this point around like its 50th year anniversary. A lot of people profited off of it, so like they want to keep it that way, but a lot of people got screwed over because of it. So, maybe they either don't care or want to change it, or whatever the case may be. You're starting to see people move into cryptos and all that stuff. So there's all that interesting stuff. But I was listening to actually a Robert Kiyosaki Rich Dad Poor Dad podcast, and like this really caught my eye. So I'm just gonna tell you about this, and I'm gonna record my screen, which is why you see the angle changed on this, because I'm gonna actually be recording my screen for the majority of this. So let me take you into my screen here. So there's something called ERISA, which I learned about this so recently that I don't even know the full. It's I'll just take you to my screen. We'll figure it out from there. Okay, so recording my screen here now. So here we're at the U.S. Department of Labor website, government website, and this is a government program, so you know kind of the validity of this site in terms of talking about this stuff. So let's just start from here. The Employment Retirement Income Security Act of 1974, ERISA, that's what it stands for. Employee Retirement Income Security Act of 1974. This got people based, like, this is your 401ks and all that stuff. This is how the standard was set for investing in the stock market, essentially to fund your retirement. I think it started here. At least from what I'm getting from that Robert Kiyosaki podcast, so let's just read it. It's a federal law that sets minimum standards for most voluntary established retirement and health plans in private industry to provide protection for individuals in these plans. Right? So, government program providing protection, right? Initially, it probably was a good idea, but what does it lead to? ERISA requires plans to provide participants with plan information, including important information about plan features and funding, provides fiduciary responsibilities for those who manage and control plan assets, requires plans to establish a grievance and appeals process for participants to get benefits from their plans, gives participants the right to sue for benefits, and breaches of fiduciary duty. From an employer perspective, this was probably complete. See, now you're starting to realize why so many employers and like manufacturers ended up moving overseas. Think about it. Imagine the imagine how angry producers were or employers were when they realized, okay, so now we're off of the gold standard. So then and by 1974, you had already started to see the inflation, and then on top of that, you're responsible for getting your employees invested into the stock market. Imagine how angry those people were now they had to. Some of these people had thousands of employees. You have to get them all started on stock market plans, on like stock market portfolios. You had to get your whole staff, your whole work, like everybody who worked for you, invested into the stock market. And prior to this, the stock market investing was a specialty. So now you had to contact all of these people, like Ray Dalio, for example. Like I'm reading that book, Principles, and he's talking about how in the 80s he started getting all of these different clients who wanted his perspective and insight on the markets. And even big corporations wanted this guy's insights. Think about it. I mean, that guy came in at the most perfect time to start understanding the markets, because you moved off of the gold standard and people started looking to even the government started requiring stock market investment for employees so the employees could keep up with inflation. No wonder all of these people started looking to guys like Ray Dalio. Like, it makes perfect sense, because barely anybody understood the stock market, because nobody needed, it was a specialty thing. Like, that was needed to retain your purchasing power. You didn't have to invest in the stock market or in other like speculative assets like that to keep your purchasing power. I mean, it's starting to make sense to me now. Like, hopefully it's making sense to you guys as you're watching these videos. There have been a number of amendments to ERISA expanding the protections available to health benefit plan participants. See, health benefits, man, that's just a whole thing we haven't even really covered yet on this channel. And the beneficiaries. One important amendment, the Consolidated Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act, COBRA, what the fuck is that? Provides some workers and their families with the right to continue their health coverage for a limited time after certain events such as the loss of a job. So you have a whole government act. I mean, that's crazy, man. Wow. Another amendment to ERISA is the health insurance. Okay, see, this is one thing that I'm familiar with, HIPAA. The Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, which provides important protections for working Americans and their families who might otherwise suffer discrimination in health coverage based on factors that relate to an individual's health. See, that's very interesting. Other important amendments include the Newborns and Mothers Health Protection Act. Damn. The Mental Health Parity Act. The Women's Health and Cancer Rights Act. Holy shit. The Affordable Care Act. Dang, okay, no wonder so many. See, Obamacare, a bunch of people were angry and I didn't really get it at the time, but I'm starting to get it now. The Affordable Care Act and the Mental Health Parity and Addiction Equity Act. Damn. Like, you wonder, I mean, Addiction Equity Act, why are so many people, why are so many people addicted to random drugs after you take away their purchasing power, right? Why do so many people have mental health problems all of a sudden? I mean, there was an alcohol problem even before the end of the gold standard, so I guess I can't really say that. Like, that's definitely an addiction. In general, ERISA does not cover health plans established or maintained by government entities, churches, for their employees, or plans which are maintained solely to comply with applicable workers' comp, unemployment, or disability laws. ERISA does not cover plans maintained outside the United States, primarily for the benefit of non-resident aliens or unfunded excess benefit plans. I mean, y'all can read more about this stuff. See, look at all these acts, freedom and I might just go over more of these government acts, because that's just interesting history to me, knowing what I know about like the economy now and how it's gotten. This is all just very interesting stuff. So with each passing day, the more interesting this kind of stuff gets to me. I mean, look at all these acts. I might just keep going over some of it, like, in other videos, mental health. I mean, come on, like, I'm not gonna go over that now. Mental health benefits. See, just type in ERISA on DuckDuckGo and then, imagine all of a sudden having to invest in the stock market for your employees. man. And then 401ks, your employer has to match it. See, that's why so many companies left America, man. Like, how are you gonna, and stock buybacks and stuff like that? Does this not, I mean, is this starting to, I don't know if this is starting to make sense to you guys. I'll try to cover it more over time. I'll probably put this into that financialization of the economy, that like little kind of multi-part series I got going, because this is definitely, like I talked about bonds in the first one, like government bonds, like U.S. Treasury bonds in that one. But this is a good thing to put in there. Let's just look at the Wikipedia. Enacted September 2nd, 1974. Federal United States tax and labor law that establishes minimum standards for pension plans in private industry. See, dang. A retirement plan. See, yeah, these are retirement plans, A financial arrangement designed to replace employment income upon retirement. These plans may be set up by employers, insurance companies, trade unions, the government, or other institutions. Congress has expressed a desire to encourage responsible retirement planning. See, I mean, these are all going away for us. Like, we won't have retirement plans. Like, the people that are young today. Like, it might be crypto-based retirement plans. Like, they're already starting to regulate crypto. Contains rules on the federal income tax effects of transactions associated with employment benefit plans. I don't even know the fullness, but like some of you guys, some of the older guys that watch my channel, like if you're older than me, you probably know more about like some of the implications of this stuff. ERISA was enacted to protect the interests of employee benefit plan participants and their beneficiaries by requiring the disclosure of financial and other information concerning the plan to beneficiaries, establishing standards of conduct for plan fiduciaries. See, what the frick is that? A fiduciary is a person who holds a legal or ethical relationship of trust with one or more other parties. Typically, a fiduciary prudently takes care of money or other assets for another person. One party, for example, a corporate trust or the trust department of a bank. Dang. See, when citizens create trusts for themselves, all of a sudden those are broken up by the government. Like, that's funny to me. Okay, so that's what fiduciaries mean. Provide for appropriate remedies and access to the federal courts. ERISA is sometimes used to refer to the full body of laws that regulate employee benefit plans, which are mainly in the Internal Revenue Code and ERISA itself. Responsibility for interpretation and enforcement of ERISA is divided among the Department of Labor, the Department of the Treasury, really? Particularly the IRS. Okay, so the IRS is part of the Department of Treasury. I mean, we're gonna be learning shit on this channel, guys. We haven't even talked about the IRS yet. And the Pension Benefit Guarantee Corporation, damn. United States federally chartered corporation created by the Employee Retirement Income by ERISA to encourage the continuation and maintenance of voluntary private defined benefit pension plans. I mean, this is like blowing my mind right here. In 1961, President John F. Kennedy created the President's Committee on Corporate Pension Plans. The movement for pension reform gained Studebaker Corporation closed its plan in 1963. I mean, that's something we could cover. Its pension plan was so poorly funded that Studebaker could not afford to provide all employees with their pensions. The company created a program which 3,600 workers who had reached the retirement age of 60 received full pension benefits. 4,000 were, see, that's just something we probably won't have. And see, this was 1961. I mean, see, this stuff is probably older than Like, I think, to be honest, like older than the dates I'm covering on this channel. I'm talking about 70s. This probably goes back farther than that. 4,000 workers aged 40 to 59 who had 10 years with Studebaker received lump sum payments valued at roughly 15% of the actuarial value of their pension benefits, and the remaining 2,900 workers received no pensions. Okay, this senator in 1963 began an investigation alleging misuse and diversion of $4 million of union benefit funds. Damn, see, like, these cash flow things are like, they'll make your brain explode, like just your head hurt, just stress you out. After 3 years of the investigation had failed to find any wrongdoing, but resulted in several proposed laws. Damn. Like, see, it's these guys' job to make laws, man. Like, these career politicians and stuff, like, they make laws for a living. I mean, those of you who want smaller government, that's just not gonna happen. You got career people making laws for a living. Like, it's just not gonna happen. Settling fiduciary, the dismay over blah blah blah, increasing regulation of welfare and pension funds to limit the control. See, this is like 65, 67. Provisions from all three bills eventually evolved into the guidelines architected in ERISA. ERISA was 74. His bills were opposed by business groups and labor unions who sought to retain the flexibility they enjoyed under pre-ERISA law. See, we'll never know about that flexibility, really, I don't think. Like, both labor unions and business groups oppose this. And you'd think the business groups and labor unions were on the opposite side, right? It turns out maybe they're not always on the opposite side. Like, we'll never know the flexibility that workers used to have. I don't think we'll ever really know that. Like, pre-1970s. 1972, an hour-long television special, Pensions the Broken Promise. Did you imagine, like, this is back when TV was a bigger deal, too. It showed that millions of Americans, the consequences of poorly funded pension plans and the onerous vesting requirements. In the following years, Congress held a series of public hearings on pension issues, and public support for pension reform grew significantly. ERISA acted in 1974, signed into law by Gerald Ford in 1974, has been amended repeatedly. Pension plans, there's health benefit plans. I mean, y'all can, like, read more of this if you want to. Like, I might, like, this is just exempting most organized retirement plans, even those not subject to ERISA and accorded status claimable as exempt property by a debtor declaring bankruptcy. Now most pension have the same protection as an ERISA anti-alienation clause. Like, I mean, this hurts my brain, right? Yeah, man. Like, y'all can look this up more if y'all want to. This kind of hurts my brain, but you're starting to, like, at least I'm starting to see. I'm starting to try to just put together, and I put together the generalities a lot. I mean, I have autism, so I go around the perimeter first, and then I dive in. Like, we might be starting to dive in here. That's all I got for this one. This is like 20 minutes already. I'll leave it like there for y'all, man. Yeah, guys. We're just gonna start to dive in a little bit here on my break day here, but stay sane, stay healthy, eat well, do whatever you gotta do. Try to create some real value. And I'll catch y'all later, man. Peace out. See y'all in the next one.